Frank is 87 years old. He lives alone in a small house in Vermont. He has no caregiver. He takes almost no medication. And when his 40-year-old nephew tried to keep up with him on a walk last month, the nephew was the one gasping for air. Frank is a medical anomaly. His doctor calls him a biological outlier. But Frank says it is not genetics. It is not luck. It is exactly 47 minutes of specific repeated actions that he performs every single morning. You see, most people, especially seniors, start their day with a physiological mistake. The moment your eyes open, an alarm bell rings in your brain. Your cortisol levels spike. You think about your pain. You think about the news. You rush to the bathroom. You jolt your system from a state of deep rest into a state of high stress. This is the morning shock. And for an aging heart and an aging spine, this shock is toxic. It sets the tone for 24 hours of inflammation and fatigue. Frank does the opposite. He understands that the body is a machine that needs to warm up. So, let's analyze his first moves, the ones that happen before he even leaves the sheets. Habit 1. The 10-minute pause. When Frank wakes up, he does not move. He does not reach for a phone. He does not check the weather. He lies flat on his back, hands at his sides, and he breathes. Why? Because the transition from sleep to wakefulness is a massive shift for your autonomic nervous system. During sleep, your blood pressure is low, your heart rate is slow. If you jump up, you force your heart to hammer against cold pipes. By lying still for 10 minutes, Frank allows his heart rate to rise gradually. He allows his blood pressure to stabilize. He is telling his body, we are coming online slowly. This simple pause reduces the morning cortisol spike. It protects the heart. But while he is lying there, he is doing something else, something critical for his back pain. Habit 3, moved up for flow, the spinal decompression. Most seniors wake up stiff. Their lower back aches before they even stand. Why? Because gravity is relentless. All day long, gravity pushes you down. It squeezes the fluid out of the discs in your spine. By the end of the day, you are literally half an inch shorter than when you woke. Sleep is the only time your spine can grow back. The discs act like sponges. They soak up fluid from the surrounding tissue to re-inflate. But they need help. Frank grabs 2 pillows. He places them under his knees. This changes the geometry of his skeleton. By lifting the knees, he flattens the curve of his lower spine. He opens up the space between the vertebrae. It is like taking your foot off the garden hose. Suddenly, the fluid can rush back into the discs. He lies there, letting his spine drink. 7 minutes in this position does more for back pain than any pill. When he finally stands up, he is not grinding bone on bone. He is walking on fully inflated cushions. But standing up is the most dangerous moment of the day. This is where most seniors make the mistake that ends their independence. We need to talk about the vertical trap. We need to talk about why Frank sits on the edge of the bed and stares at the clock for exactly 2 minutes. Stares at the clock for exactly 2 minutes. We have all felt it. You stand up too fast and the room spins. Your vision goes dark. You grab the dresser to steady yourself. You think, I stood up too fast. Doctors call it orthostatic hypotension, but let's call it what it really is, a gravity failure. When you lie horizontal for 8 hours, your blood pools in the center of your body. It leaves your legs, it leaves your feet. The moment you stand up, gravity pulls that blood down towards the floor violently. In a young person, the arteries in the legs clamp shut instantly to push the blood back up to the brain. It takes milliseconds. But in an 80-year-old body, those arteries are stiff. They are slow to react. The blood drops to your feet and it stays there. Your brain is suddenly starved of oxygen. The lights go out, you faint, you fall, and you break a hip. This is not an accident, it is a mechanical certainty. So Frank follows a strict rule. Habit 2, the 2-minute hover. When Frank swings his legs out of bed, he does not stand. He sits on the edge, feet flat on the floor, hands on knees, and he waits. He gives his cardiovascular system exactly 120 seconds to realize that the position has changed. He lets his blood pressure adjust to the new vertical reality. But he doesn't just sit there passively. He primes the pump. While sitting, he flexes his feet. Toes point up, toes point down, up, down. Why? Because the heart is not the only pump in your body. You have a second heart. It is called the calf muscle. Every time you flex your ankle, your calf muscle squeezes the deep veins in your leg. It physically forces the blood upwards against gravity back to the heart. Frank does 10 reps on each foot. He is manually pressurizing his system. He is making sure that when he finally stands, his tank is full. No dizziness, no wobble, steady as a rock. Now that he is standing safely, he heads to the bathroom. But even here, most men and women are causing invisible damage. They are destroying their pelvic floor and their bladder function simply by sitting with the wrong posture. Frank has the bladder control of a 50-year-old because he refuses to slouch on the toilet. And then there is the stomach. Most seniors suffer from constipation, bloating, and reflux. They think they need fiber. Frank knows they need activation. Let's look at the bathroom protocol and the massage that wakes up the gut. Massage that wakes up the gut. Frank walks to the bathroom. This is where the day usually goes wrong for many seniors. Incontinence, urgency, incomplete emptying. These are the silent humiliations of aging. But often, the problem is not the bladder. The problem is the angle. Habit 4. The noble posture. When most people sit on the toilet, especially when they are tired, they slump. They lean forward, elbows on knees, head down. This collapses the abdomen. It puts immense pressure on the bladder and the prostate. It creates a kink in the exit pipe. You have to strain to go, and straining weakens the pelvic floor muscles over decades. Frank sits differently. He sits upright, shoulders back, spine straight against the tank. Noble. This aligns the pelvis. It opens the natural angle of the urethra. Gravity does the work, not the muscles. Zero strain, complete emptying. It costs nothing, but it preserves the delicate muscles that keep you dry. Now, Frank moves to the kitchen, but he doesn't eat yet. He doesn't drink coffee yet. His stomach has been asleep for 10 hours. It is cold. It is still. If you throw a heavy breakfast or acidic coffee into a sleeping stomach, it rebels. You get bloating. You get acid reflux. You need to start the engine before you put the car in gear. Habit 5. The clockwise activation. Frank stands in his kitchen. He places his hand on his belly and he spends 3 minutes doing a specific massage. He moves his hand in large, slow circles, clockwise. Why clockwise? Because that is the physical direction of your colon. Ascending on the right, transverse across the top, descending on the left. By rubbing clockwise, Frank is mechanically pushing gas and waste towards the exit. He is stimulating peristalsis, the wave-like contraction of the intestines. He is manually waking up the gut. He is bringing blood flow to the digestive organs.
So when he finally eats his oatmeal, his stomach is ready. It is warm. It is active. Digestion is silent and efficient. No gas, no pain. But Frank isn't done yet. He has one more challenge for his body. A challenge that his neighbors think is crazy, but it is the reason he hasn't had a cold or the flu in 4 years. He opens the back door. It is winter in Vermont. There is frost on the deck, and Frank steps out, barefoot. Let's talk about the immunity kickstart and the final mental discipline of the unmade bed.
Frank steps out, barefoot. Habit 6. The thermal shock. Frank stands on the cold wood of his porch. He stays there for exactly 5 minutes. He breathes calmly while the cold air bites at his skin and the frost stings his soles. Why would an 87-year-old man do this? Because comfort is the enemy of immunity. Modern seniors live in a thermal bubble. Heated house, heated car, warm clothes. Their bodies never experience temperature change. So their blood vessels get lazy. They lose the ability to constrict and dilate. When Frank steps into the cold, his body goes into alert mode. His blood vessels clamp shut, vasoconstriction, to save heat. His heart pumps faster to warm the core. His system releases norepinephrine, a natural chemical that lowers inflammation and sharpens the immune cells. He is training his vascular system like a muscle. He is reminding his body that it is still alive and it still needs to fight. After 5 minutes, he steps back inside. The blood rushes back to his skin. He feels a warm glow. He is wide awake. No caffeine required. Habit 7. The discipline of order. Now, fully awake, warm, and safe, Frank does the final thing. He walks back to his bedroom and he makes his bed perfectly. Every corner tucked, every pillow straight. This is not about being tidy. Admiral William McRaven once said, "If you want to change the world, start by making your bed." For a senior living alone, it is easy to let things slide. Why bother? Nobody is coming to visit. That thought is the beginning of the end. Chaos in the home leads to chaos in the mind. When Frank smooths out the sheets, he is proving to himself that he is still in control. He is setting a standard for the day. I am disciplined. I am active. I matter. The conclusion. Aging is not a choice, but decay is. Frank is not superhuman. He has the same joints, the same heart, and the same risks as you. The difference is that Frank has a protocol. He doesn't hope for a good day. He engineers it. He respects gravity, the 2-minute rule. He respects his spine, the pillow. He respects his gut, the massage. And he respects his mind, the bed. You don't have to do all 7 tomorrow. Start with 1. Sit on the edge of the bed. Flex your feet. Give your body a fighting chance. Don't let the morning shock break you. Take control of the first hour and you take control of the remaining years. I am your senior doctor. Rise slowly, and I will see you in the next investigation.